Good morning. It is July 20th. I'm Jason Stanton. I serve as senior pastor at First Lutheran in Onalaska, and I thought I might, just behind me a couple deer just ran away. I had an audience here for a little while I was thinking about what I was going to say, but now it's just you. I am back from vacation in Colorado. We went to visit our very best friends out there and had a good time sharing that time with them. That means I'm quarantined for 14 days, and so I'm 5 or 6 days in at this point. And I did get to participate in worship a little bit yesterday by sending in a recording, basically just saying, you know, how much I value and our church values campus ministry. And now, as we enter into this week, I have been continuing to ruminate, I guess would be the best word, on Pastor Ben's sermon. If you haven't had a chance to worship through our worship service yesterday, which we used Pastor Ben Morris from campus ministry at UW-Viterbo and Western, the Common Ground Ministry, he preached a sermon on the parable of the sower, which is always a helpful text to me. I've heard that preached from so many different angles. Of course, I know the text very well. I bet you do too. And yet I so often hear something new again. And I did yesterday. And it made me think of when I've been on job interviews, or I remember being interviewed for scholarships, going to college. And there's always a question in there, and I've done this to people I've interviewed on the other side of the desk as well. Tell me about a time that you have failed. Tell me about your failures. Tell me about your weaknesses, something to that effect. And I remember hearing that as a high schooler as I was trying to get scholarships going into college. And I remember thinking, you know, this is a trap. They're trying to get me to say bad things about myself when really isn't this whole thing meant to be about your achievements and your successes? Isn't life supposed to be about achievements and successes? And of course, as I've grown older, I've come to know more deeply that there's going to be failures. Like, unavoidably there will be failures. It's not really whether or not you fail, it's how you handle those failures, how you recover from those failures, how comfortable or uncomfortable you are with the times you failed. What I heard Pastor Ben's sermon, what it said to me yesterday, was a permission to fail, which is an important word to me, and I think to many of us, who at all other times the world tells us you must succeed. There's no room for failure. Failure means you're a loser. All those messages of you have to be perfect. I hear a lot of us even say, I'm a perfectionist. That's not healthy to be a perfectionist. It leads us to constantly be ungrateful, unimpressed with ourselves and others as we and others fail. It leads to a pretty miserable existence, actually, because nothing's perfect. And here we get this text that Pastor Ben preached on yesterday, the parable of the sower, where God is full of failure, casting seed carelessly, and some of it gets scorched and some of it gets eaten up by birds. Some of it just doesn't grow. Like, it only, as he said, only 25% of what is cast actually grows and bears fruit. If that isn't permission to fail, I don't know what is. And having a permission to fail, I think, can give us courage that we can just go for it, knowing that God doesn't always see fruit born from what God sows. So why should we expect ourselves to be far more successful and better at achieving than God is? And so in a time that I think really calls upon us to be creative and willing to try new things, in order to do that, to be creative and try new things, I'm going to need to be willing to fail and be open to failures.